All right, friends, it's been another week since getting the keys, so time for some more updates. I'm working in Ella's room, and I've already done the large surface cleans, so cleaning the walls, priming the walls, and I've also cleaned the floor 4 times, and there was still a bunch of gunk stuck right in the corners of the floors that I couldn't get out with a mop. So we're getting down on our hands and knees, trying to use a scrub brush. That did not work. So now I'm using a pry bar to scrape out all of the dirt that is stuck underneath the baseboards. I removed the door so that I could get right into the corners of the door frame and clean up there because that was full of dirt as well. I'm also going to be painting over the doors so that they're nice and fresh. I am not someone who usually uses painter's tape, basically because I just do not have the patience for it. But I wanted to try to protect these floors as much as possible because even though they still need a good refinishing, I love them. I'm hoping to be able to actually move into the house next week. So I'm doing a really deep clean of both of the kids' rooms so that when we move in, I won't have to worry about moving their stuff around or disturbing their space to clean while we're in there. It's not a big deal for me to sleep on the couch if I'm still working on my room, but the kids are a different matter. Even though I am planning on replacing the windows and replacing the trim, it's not a top priority at this point, so I just want to make the trim that is in there right now look as good as possible. I really wish I'd given you a close-up on how dirty this trim was because it was disgusting. Almost as disgusting as these screens were. It is surprising how much cleaner a room looks after putting a fresh coat of semi-gloss on the trim. Although people won't be seeing the inside of the closet very often, I still wanted to make sure that it was nice and clean for when Ella's clothes go in there. So I'm also cleaning the walls in here and giving it a coat of primer. I also wish I'd given you a close-up of this door while I was cleaning it, because this, as I'm sure you are not surprised, was also disgusting. It looked like a brand new door when I was finished with it. Painting this ceiling turned out to be a much bigger job than I thought it was going to be. Because it is a popcorn ceiling, when the ceiling got wet with the paint, the popcorn started peeling off with the roller. I ended up having to just paint one strip at a time, letting that dry, and then going back in with another coat, because anytime I went over the same spot twice, the popcorn would just come right off. And now we are tackling the dreaded main bedroom walls. I knew that I was going to end up with buckets and buckets of dirty water doing these walls. So in order to conserve as much cleaning products as possible, This first wipe down that I'm doing is just with hot water. And see how much of a difference it makes with just water? I can't imagine how much easier this job would have been for me if the old owners had cleaned the walls even once. Now we are on to using the cleaning solution. What I'm using is called TSP. It's actually something that was suggested to use by someone on TikTok. It is a really heavy chemical, so I whipped out the PPE. The primer that I'm using in this room is specifically for covering tobacco-stained walls. The primer that I used in the rest of the house is one that was made for covering odors and covering stains, but it was not specifically for tobacco-stained walls. I'm using the same method for painting the ceiling in this room as I did in Ella's room, because I did not want to be stripping off all of this popcorn ceiling. That about covers it for updates this week. Stay tuned for the next one.